this is Russ. Yeah, back out on the road again. What am I riding today? This is the Magicycle Deer 20. Yeah, the yellow bike. Magicycle Deer 20. Where are we headed? We are headed to the Forest Preserve. Figured we'd take a nice, easy day ride on the Forest Preserve area. This is a hot day. I don't know what it is with this week, but it's going to be like 98 degrees here. So it's currently 7:51 a.m. It's already 77 degrees. And they did say it might rain today, but I did water the lawn last night, and I did it again this morning. Yeah, the lawn's not looking too good. It's starting to burn out if you're not careful. So you have to water it. All right, we're gonna keep going past here. There's a little different route of going there. You know, usually I end up getting onto the Forest Preserve area by area of the hill test and everything, but not today. Not today. We're going to take a different method to get there. We've done this before. And we're cutting through the parking lots here. All right, so anyway, usually I get really quiet when I'm concentrating on where I'm riding and what I'm doing. Don't want to get killed in the parking lot, you know. All right, anyway, so this morning I decided, let's get through here first. I think it's probably easier to do that than to talk and try to figure out what's going on in front of me here. I'll pick it up again once I get over to the Forest Preserve. Okay, I've crossed through the intersection. You know, intersections tend to be a little loud and noisy. Better just say nothing there and just move in. So anyways, I decided today we talk a little bit about some of the questions I've gotten recently, both in comment sections and also emails and the like. So we haven't done that in a while. I figured, yeah, let's talk about some of the things that are on your minds, questions you've had, comments you've made. So I think we should probably talk about the first, the most common question I usually get. And that is usually a recommendation for an e-bike. What do you recommend? That's a tough question. I mean, not knowing too much about who you are, how you like to ride, things you like on a bike, things you don't like on a bike. I mean, I had a video that said, what is the best e-bike for you, right? And people have made comments about that. And you can see from those comments that everyone has a different opinion of what is the best for them. But I think you can probably go by certain things that most people probably would want. First off, nobody wants to pay a lot of money. All right. I mean, that's a pretty common thing. Nobody wants to spend more money than they have to get what it is that they want. So what seems to be the range people are willing to spend on an e-bike? I think beginning people probably would rather spend $1,000 to $1,500 max. Yeah, I think that's really where they want to be. Now, you have to remember too, if you compare these prices to the old prices, I'm talking pre-tariff prices, all right? You can't get bikes from the, I'm saying the same bike from the same manufacturer. You can't get the same bike for the same price anymore. Everyone's gone up a little bit because, as you know, the United States has a tariff on Chinese EV products and the like, batteries and the like, and so that has raised the price to the manufacturers to be able to sell it here in the United States. So because of that, you can't look at it at the same. Now, how much are we talking about? I'm thinking that many of the companies have gone up at least $100 to $200. Yeah, $100 to $200 is probably a realistic amount that you can probably say on average the companies have gone up. So what used to be, say, $1,300 today could cost you $1,400 or $1,500. So those who bought early, of course, have benefited from getting the early adopting of the bike. Others will have to pay a little bit more money because the prices have gone up. So let's put it at $1,000 to $1,500. What are they really looking for? Well, I would tend to think that most people today probably want hydraulic brakes on it. I mean, that's pretty standard now at this point. I mean, there was a time you couldn't even get a bike under $2,000 without hydraulic brakes. I mean, or with hydraulic brakes. You'd have to spend at least $2,000 to get a bike with hydraulic brakes on it. That's not the case anymore. We're seeing bikes, even sub $1,000 bikes are having hydraulic brakes. Not all of them, but a number of them are. So hydraulic brakes are important. A lot of people are concerned about this whole ghost pedaling thing. I don't know why, but it seems like a lot of the bikes still ghost pedal. Especially, if you unlock your bike, meaning, you go faster than what the manufacturer intended, you're going to ghost pedal. Now, maybe some of it's by design, trying to get you the best performance in the Class 2 category, which is 20 miles per hour and 20 miles per hour pedaled and throttled. The minute you go past that, yeah, you're going to ghost pedal. A lot of people would prefer not to do that. Now, there are some companies that will change their gear ratios or do something in order to try to prevent that. And I know for my first magicycle bike, I took it from I think they had 48T at the point for their chain ring. I moved it to 52T. Helped a lot. Other people changed the cassette in the back, and they changed it from a 14T down to an 11T, and that could help a lot too. So you kind of wonder, since it can be done, why is it that manufacturers don't necessarily just go ahead automatically do that? I mean, how hard could it be? But I keep wondering if that's because of the legality of things. Maybe that's the reasoning. I have no idea. So what else do people look for? Well, the question of step through and step over bikes come up all the time. There are still people who will not buy a step through bike. I'm talking guys. Because they still have that stigma of that's a girl's bike. Yeah, that's not the case anymore. Just to let you know, especially on e-bikes, that's not the case anymore. A lot of people will get step-through bike. This is a step-through bike I'm riding right now. Okay, it's a 20-inch step-through bike. Step-through bikes just are a little bit easier to deal with, really. Morning. So anyway, yeah, that question always comes up. Should I get a step through? Should I get a step over? You know, you can do a step over. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just it's a little bit easier with a step through. What about rigidity? People have asked me before, you know, are they rigid enough compared to a step over bike? Well, in general, step over bikes are going to be more rigid. Yeah, you got an extra tube there, right? But you have to ask yourself too, how am I riding this thing? I mean, am I hopping curbs all the time? Am I going mountain biking? What am I doing with this thing? If you're just doing what I'm doing like right now, there's no reason why you can't use a step over bike, a step through bike instead of a step over bike. So that's a question that comes up all the time too. Another question that comes up all the time too is the size of the wheel. Should I get a 20-inch wheel bike? Should I get a 26-inch wheel bike? That's a good question. That's a real good question. Good morning. So, yeah, which type of bike should you get? If you want something more nimble, get a 20-inch wheel bike. If you want something that goes over bumps a little bit easier, get a 26-inch wheel bike. Yeah, I can maneuver these 20-inch wheel bikes a lot easier than the 26-inch wheel bikes. Speaking of that too, you know, as far as tires, you know, should I get a fat tire? Should I get a thinner tire bike? You know, like a commuter style bike? Yeah, that again depends on where you plan on riding. All right, let's hit these people with the bell here. If you're going to just ride on paved paths like this, or on the street, then yeah, a thinner tire bike is perfectly fine. Probably better actually in the long run. It's quieter. But if you think you're going to go up on grass every now and then, or you might hit some gravel and other areas, then yeah, maybe a fatter tire bike is better, you know. So I mean, there's 3-inch fat tires, 4-inch fat tire bikes. The fatter it is, the tougher it is to ride, in my opinion. My biggest tire bike is 4.5 inches. Yeah, this one happens to be a 4-inch, 20-inch tire. I can maneuver this one pretty well, but the other one is it feels different. Yeah, it definitely feels different as you try to make turns and the like. So really a lot of this decision of what you should buy boils down to your riding style, what you plan to do with it. I mean, some people just like fat tire bikes, and others prefer not. They prefer something thinner. This year I mentioned that it's probably the year of the commuter bike. I mean, I've seen commuter bikes all over the place. That's what's people giving us at this point. All right, and we'll hit the people up here ahead of us as well. Good morning. So it's best to kind of decide how you plan to ride, what you plan to do with it. That'll make a lot of decisions. Okay, what other questions have people had? Accessories are always coming up. People always ask me about accessories. You know, what are the necessary accessories, and why don't they give it to us? Well, I don't think they give it to you because it just adds to the cost of the bike. They're already trying to get as much as they can to get you to buy the bike. Imagine how much harder it is if they threw on another couple $100 worth of accessories. It would just bring the price up higher. So I think the first thing most people will change out is their saddle. You know, they don't like the seat, doesn't feel good to them. Yeah, okay, that's fine. Changing out a saddle is pretty easy to do. It's not hard. It's a couple of nuts that you have to unbolt, and then you put on the saddle, and then you're good. Yeah. A lot of them like wider saddles that have a little more cushiness to it. Yeah, that's okay. I do that too. But I've noticed that a lot of the manufacturers nowadays, they tend to give us some pretty decent saddles now. They're not that bad. Some of them are still pretty bad, but many of them aren't that bad anymore. So what used to be the most common thing to change out, sometimes maybe not. On your left. I don't know if you heard me or not. So yeah, changing out the saddle is a pretty common thing. The question always comes up. So, what other accessories are necessary? Well, believe it or not, people have asked me about baskets, front baskets. Yeah, they're not interchangeable, okay? I mean, if you like the basket that's on my magicycle, it's probably not going to fit the other brand. There are no standard mounting holes. Yeah. So the baskets nowadays are metal baskets, of course, and a lot of people like the way these magicycle baskets look and function. Here, let me angle down a little bit there. Can you guys see that? Yeah, they kind of like my front basket. I put a basket on a lot of my bikes because I kind of figure, if you're going to carry stuff, you might want a basket. I mean, you do have a rear rack, but you know how hard it is to put things on a rear rack? I mean, if the rear rack has a basket, that's another story, but no, on a rear rack, you have to bungee cord it and everything. It's a lot of hassle. Yeah, and what if it's a smaller item, Baskets are kind of important to have in the front. Now, some people won't do it because they go, that doesn't make it look cool. I don't really care. I really don't. I kind of figure, you got to be practical too. And believe me, having that front basket has come in handy a lot. Even just like when I'm putting on my equipment, if I'm putting on gloves and I'm putting on my GoPro, all that stuff, having a staging area in the front there is pretty easy. And without it, where would I put stuff when I'm doing things like that? So yeah, front baskets are, I think, something that I would immediately add on. Now, others don't like the front basket. They just don't. They don't like the look of it, so they take it off. But I will say that if you have a folding bike, those front baskets can kind of get in the way of folding. So you have to be aware of that, okay? All right, we're going to have to hit them with the bell here. On your left. So what else comes up? What other questions? Well, I'm always asked for my opinion on certain bikes. And why don't I get that bike to review? Hey, I've said before, I usually have just waited for people to offer me the bike. I don't usually go out and ask for a bike. So you have to remember too, the whole reason I even got into e-bikes was to fix my knee. That was really the main reason why this whole channel started for e-bikes. I had a knee replacement, and then it was a knee replacement channel for 2 years, and then I bought the e-bike to help fix my knee, and then it became an e-bike channel. So I never really got into it to become a reviewer. The reviewing just happened to kind of fall into place because I always had an interest in bikes. I mentioned this before. Even as a kid, I always liked bikes. I've always had a bike. I only stopped riding the bike when my knee started hurting. Yeah. So it was a natural progression for me to move on to an e-bike and then to review them. I mean, I know a certain amount about bikes. Yeah, there's no doubt. People have said your knowledge of bikes is really incredible. Not really. I mean, if you think about it, a lot of people know about bikes. I mean, how hard is a bike? Bikes are not that hard. It's got 2 wheels, it's got a couple axles, it's got some gears to help you along. I mean, really, how hard is it? But designing a good bike for a good price, that's another story, right? So that's the answer for you for why don't you review this bike, why don't you review that bike? And maybe also answering the question of, why don't they give it to you? Hey, I don't know. I don't know how companies think. I mentioned too, there's times people ask me to help them on their behalf when they have problems with companies. Maybe something's not right on their bike and they want something fixed and they can't get the attention of the company. Yeah, I mentioned that already, that I'm not an employee of the company. I really have no pull, no say, no nothing. I'm just as good as the next guy. So the only difference is, sometimes companies will reach out to me and ask me for my opinions and what I think about what they can do to be a little bit better, that kind of thing. And then I will answer them, and I answer them honestly. If there's something not good, I tell them. Yeah, I'm not afraid to not tell them. I figure, hey, at worst case, all they do is they cut me off, and I never get another bike from them ever again. But the way I see it is, there's plenty of other bike companies out there, right? So if they want to cut me off, they can cut me off. But none of them have done that. I've told them some really blunt things when they've asked me my opinion, and I'm still working with these companies. So I think they appreciate hearing it. I think they don't want to hear sometimes a negative thing, but they got to hear it, and they know it. And having someone who's actually ridden a number of different bikes from different brands is actually kind of valuable information, because even themselves may not have ridden all these different brands. Okay, we're gonna have to stop here. Yeah, sometimes they themselves have not ridden all the other brands. I mean, they don't go out and buy a bunch of different brands of bikes and try them out. Okay, maybe some of them do, I don't know. But that's costly. They're not going to do that. So they design it the way they think it is and the way they think people would like it, and they hope it works out. But hearing back from the people they've worked with who have had an opportunity to try different bikes out, it's valuable information to them. Recently, I had one of the major players ask me about it, and they said, "Can you give us some advice on what you think we can do to improve? What are our strong points? What are our weak points?" And I told it to them. I wrote them a nice long email, and they appreciated it, and they told me that they intend to see what they can do to improve. That's always a good thing when a company does that. So I don't mind telling them when they ask me. Sometimes I may not come right out and tell them every problem that they have, because they didn't ask for it. But if they ask for it, they're going to get it. So I think one of the things, there's a little off topic from what we were talking about, questions, but one of the things that they said to me, about influencers, I said, I've noticed that a lot of influencers will take a bike, they'll review it, and then you never see them ever ride it ever again. This is more common than anything. So I said, I don't do that. You give me a bike, if I approve that that's a bike I would like to take on and try out, I'll usually keep that bike for a while, and we all know that. Viewers know it. And I ride the bikes. I give it as much video time as possible, and it's not only because I want to help them out a little bit more. Okay, squirrel doesn't want to move. But I actually like the bikes enough that I want to ride it again. And there's bikes that I've had since the beginning. I haven't even gotten rid of them. I still have them, right? Some bikes, I do move on because I can't keep everything. I'm running out of space all the time, and so if something comes in, something's got to go, and then I got to make a decision which one will go. And many of the ones that I have now, they're still here because I kind of like all the ones that I have now. And then as new ones come in, some of them are not, as good as the ones I may end up having to replace to get space for it. And that's always a dilemma for me. It's like, do I sell a good one and take in an inexpensive bike that doesn't have the same amount of features as the one I'm selling off? you know, but I have to do it because there's just not enough space. And if you want to do a review of something, yeah, one's got to go if one comes in. So I'll give you an example of the e-trike. People ask me, you know, why don't you do the e-trike reviews? Well, I'm going to go out and do one, as you know. I'm going to California to do it. But it's going to be left with my sister when I'm done. She's going to end up keeping it. So I'll do several videos on it. And then that'll be it. You won't see it again from me because I'm not out in California. So I do what I can do. It's basically what it boils down to. All right, anyways, that's about all I really have for you guys for today. I just wanted to talk a little bit about some of the common questions that have come up and come up over and over. Hopefully this has been helpful for you guys. If you like the video, go ahead and hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. By the time you see this video, we would have already broken the 20,000 subscriber mark. I looked at it this morning, and I'm 6 people short of 20,000 subscribers right now. So thank you to everybody for pushing us over the 20,000 mark. It has taken a little longer this year than I thought. I thought for sure we'd be a little bit higher up than that by now, but I had noticed that it's been a tough year. It's been a tough year for, at least for me. I haven't been able to go to many places this year. Haven't taken you to different things. We've been riding the street more than anything else, and then maybe even riding this forest reserve. But it's been a hot year. I'm telling you, it's been really hot, and it's been rainy and everything, and you know, major storms and everything coming through. So yeah, it's been a very difficult year. Hopefully next year will be even better, but this year, yeah, it's kind of a strange year. Anyways, that's all I have for you guys for today. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. I'll talk to you guys next time.